All right, so you've probably played around with AI models like ChatGPT, right? But have you ever stopped to wonder how they actually work? Or, how much this stuff costs to run? Well, it all boils down to one single, super important concept: AI tokens. Seriously, these things are the fundamental building blocks for everything, from how an AI thinks to how it's priced. In this explainer, we're going to break it all down. Let's get started. First, we'll pull back the curtain on AI's secret language. Then, we'll get right into what a token actually is. After that, we'll connect the dots to pricing and speed, watch the AI think in real time, and we'll wrap it all up with some pro tips on how to use your tokens wisely. So let's kick things off with AI's secret language. To really get a handle on this, you've got to understand that these models don't process what we say in the same way we do. They have their own system. Which brings up a pretty big question. When you type a sentence to an AI, does it really understand your words? Like in the way a person does? And the short answer is nope, not even close. Here's a good way to think about it. You know how a computer's most basic language is just ones and zeros, right? Well, AI models have a similar thing going on. They don't see words and sentences. Instead, they chop everything up into these smaller, more manageable pieces called tokens. This is actually a super clever way to handle a massive vocabulary, even words it's never seen before, or typos, because it can just piece them together from these common parts. It's basically their native tongue. Okay, so that leads us perfectly into our next question. What in the world is an AI token? Well, you can think of them as the currency of your conversation with an AI. They're the little building blocks that make up every single interaction you have. So a token is the absolute smallest unit of text an AI model works with. And it's not always a whole word. It could be just a piece of a word, a punctuation mark, like a comma or a period, or even a space. For all practical purposes, tokens are the real words that AI understands. Okay, take a look at this, because this is where it really clicks. A simple word like hello, that's just one token. Easy enough. But look at a longer word like understanding. The AI doesn't see that as one thing. Nope, it splits it into under, stand, and ing. 3 tokens. And check out the last one, AI is cool. That becomes 4 tokens. Why? Because even the period at the end gets counted as its own separate token. Wild, right? All right, so AI's thinking tokens. Big deal. Why should you care? Well, this is where it gets real for your wallet and your patience. It all comes down to 2 things: pricing and speed. So here's the bottom line. Every single time you use an AI model, you are paying per token. Let me say that again, per token, not per word, not per letter. And when we talk about how fast an AI is, the measurement is tokens per second, or TPS. It's all about how many of these little chunks it can spit out every second. But wait, it gets a little more detailed. See, there are actually 2 kinds of tokens you get billed for. Input tokens are all the stuff you send to the model: your question, your instructions, any chat history. Then you have output tokens. That's the brand new stuff the model creates for you. And here's the kicker. Output tokens are almost always way more expensive, sometimes 2, 3, even 4 times more. And this chart just makes it super clear. It takes a massive amount of computer power for the AI to generate new, original, coherent text. It's way more work than just reading what you sent it. That's why those output tokens cost so much more. Your request is pretty cheap. The AI's answer is what's expensive. So, for anyone out there building apps for AI, listen up. Managing your tokens is just as important as managing your server costs. You really have to be intentional about it. Every single piece of context you send in and every word you ask the AI to generate has a direct cost. Next up, let's look at how this whole token by token thing creates that cool effect you've definitely seen before. The magic behind that live typing you see in chatbots. So, have you ever noticed that? When you ask an AI a question and it seems to type out the answer one word at a time? Well, it turns out that's not just a fancy animation to make it look like it's thinking. It's actually a real window into how these things work under the hood. So here's what's actually going on. The AI makes a prediction for the single most likely token to start its answer. Let's say that's under. Then it takes that result, adds it to the context, and predicts the next most likely token, maybe stand. This is called streaming. As soon as it figures out a token, it sends it right back to your screen. Then it just repeats that process over and over, token by token, until the thought is complete. That's why it feels like it's thinking in real time. Okay, now that we know what tokens are and how they work, let's talk about how to be smart with them. Our final section is all about token optimization, some real pro tips for making your AI systems faster, cheaper, and just plain better. And this isn't just about saving a few pennies here and there. For anyone who's serious about building with AI, whether you're at a startup or a huge company, optimizing your token usage is absolutely fundamental. It's what separates a slow, expensive project from a fast, scalable, professional application. So how do you actually do it? Well, first, caching. If you find yourself using the same big chunk of instructions over and over, just save it. That way you don't have to send and pay for all those tokens every single time. Second, manage your context. Don't just send the entire chat history with every single message. Be selective. And finally, steer the AI to be concise. If you don't need a 5-paragraph essay, just tell it. Something as simple as answer in one sentence can save you a ton of output tokens. At the end of the day, it really all comes down to this. If you want to truly work with AI, whether you're a developer, a designer, or just a power user, getting a solid grip on tokens is the absolute first step. It's the key to everything else. So there you have it. We've demystified the core currency of modern AI. You now get the language it speaks and the money it spends. So the only question left is, how are you going to spend your tokens? Thanks for watching.